Welcome back to another edition. Welcome to Business Pro Tips. If you never liked to subscribe or saw our show before, today on the show, we're going to talk, it's just strictly for men. This is a way to kind of take a different approach when it comes to building up what you absolutely need in order to be successful as a man. Now, the reason for that is sometimes we talk about business, but we don't always get intricate to some of the things like how you need to do it as a man. Well, today on the show, we're going to talk about how a fragile mind will always be devoured by resentment. Now, whenever we out there, whether you're in high school, you're in college, maybe you right now currently single, you're not married, maybe you're married, you have to remember that a fragile mind will always be devoured by resentment. So you take the opportunity to make sure that you understand what that means. Guys, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. We're out here living a life starting from a position where, whether you like it or not, we all got to start from someplace. And when we kind of operate in society, we don't really ask this one question. And it's the question we got to ask ourselves. Am I getting involved with somebody financially? I mean, here I am. I made decisions financially before I even got involved in business. These decisions were made before I met this young lady. Now that I've gotten into this relationship, what do I need to do? I like her. I'm attracted to her. I saw her from the neck down. I didn't really think about a mindset, but I saw her from the neck down. And when you saw her from the neck down, you was all excited. You was like a rabid dog foaming at the mouth. But here's the problem, though. Remember, a fragile mind will always be divided by resentment. So if you get with a young lady and she got a fragile mind and you working, the first thing you're gonna do is give up all your time. But keep in mind, this is one of the games we play with ourselves. We play this game and it doesn't make sense. I meet a young lady and don't have no standards. What I mean by standards, yeah, I get them go to work Monday through Friday. Maybe you work on weekends. Maybe you're in college. All of a sudden, you got all the free time in the world. Realistically, you don't have it. Before you met her, you didn't have it. You had goals. You had admirations. You made a hard decision to say, I'm going to pursue dating. That's what I want to do. I want to date. I found myself in a situation where I believe at this particular time, I would like to date somebody. I'm ready to take that responsibility. I'm not ready to deal with a fragile mind, but I'm ready to take that responsibility. Well, here's the thing. It's so important that when you decide that you want to go out here and date, that you don't use the neck down principle. The neck down, it's not what's going to help you. It'll stimulate you, but it's not going to help you. And it's dangerous because when we all, as men, when we get together and we have conversations, there's things you say when you're younger, but when you get older, you reflect on it and you be like, that was dumb, man. I don't know why I did that. Well, let's take the approaches. Do we always have to make that statement? Do we always have to say, if I was older, I wouldn't have made that decision? No, we don't have to be in that position. We actually get in that position for two reasons. One, just remember, and at least now, individuals who are boring are most likely people who are responsible because they're not willing to get into mischief. Now, how do I grow my position in life? Not just my ego, not just the perception of my ego, not even my ego. How do I grow myself? Which means I got skills, I got talents that's still undeveloped. And I still want to pursue a young lady. I meet the young lady, and here's the thing. Remember, a fragile mind will always be devoured by resentment. Now you meet her. You have to prove to this young lady that not only do you like her, but you're about to give up all your excess cash to her. And in the process of giving up that excess cash that you have in operating in business and going to work from Monday through Friday or whenever your hours that you work, you have a standard. That standard is you still got to meet back in the day, my parents used to say ends meet. But today, what I'm going to use the term is this. You still have to be able to meet the demands of the obligations that you made. And when you got to go meet those demands, you got this young lady who has a fragile mind. And remember, and that's the whole theory, that a fragile mind will always be devoured by resentment. Now you like her. She got resentment. I just want you to know, walk away. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be rude. Walk away. You're looking to be complimented. Now, how do you compliment somebody? Now, I get it. You want to go out there, be a fireman. You consider yourself a chick fireman. Feel free to get on that red truck with that ladder and be busting to all these different places, all these different towns, going to all these different spots to be a fireman for women. All you're going to do is get burnt. first degree, second, or third degree. There's no CO2 in that tank. What's in that tank is actually the reality that you're going to have issues. And then the issues that you have, you're not going to be able to change those issues. Now, I ask you this question. What do you have to do so that you stop being a fireman for fragile minds? How can you compliment the person that you're pursuing without actually being devoured by her resentment? 3 things you got to do if you want to compliment a young lady and still be economically sound. Here's the first thing you got to do. Tell her no. This is the one thing that I don't think guys, they feel comfortable with, because when they first meet somebody, they're in a position where they're trying to influence her, try to prove to her that they like her. And when you go through that proving mechanism, I'm just going to tell you, all you're going to do is hurt yourself in the long run. You're going to do a lot of looking down, shaking your head, wishing you didn't do that. First thing you got to learn if you want to compliment women, tell her no. Second thing you got to know if you want to compliment a woman, she can actually not have access to your free flowing cash that you need to build wealth. If you're trying to build wealth and you decide to pursue a female, and what she's saying is, you dating me, you got to take me out every weekend. Let's be realistic when I say this. I don't know what it is about us guys, but the sad part is this. We actually think that the more money we spend on a woman, the more it's going to prove we like her. No, it's not. The more it's going to prove that it's like, we got ourselves in a situation where we're trying to prove to look. Now remember, look at the title of this episode. The title is "A Fragile Mind Will Always Be Devoured by Resentment." When you have a fragile mind individual that you're pursuing, she can't compliment you. If you love the neck down, and that's what gets you stimulated, then you got to rise to the neck up. You got to rise to that. When you find a woman who knows that she, first of all, it's no game. She's going to tell you, I'm attracted to you. I like you. That's going to be somebody who's older, more mature. You may find a young lady that's going to tell you, oh, I like him. You'll find that as a man. You'll find a girl tell you straight up, I like you. I think you're cute. I think you're handsome. That's not going to be the point of reference that you need to look at. If you take a girl out 2 days in a row and you spending money and she don't stop you on the third day, walk away. Walk away. That's not sustainable. I mean, just think about it. That's like having 18 different females, and every time you get with the 18 different females, they expect you to keep footing out your extra cash that you got sitting aside that you can become wealthy. So basically at the end, all this woman's doing is just doing it so that she can get income from you. She can go out and show her friends, whether on social media, whether if it's not social media, photos that she's actually keeping that she can brag about. Oh yeah, I went with this guy. Ultimately, that's not the best way. If you're going to be a gentleman that's going to operate in business, that whether you work a job, you're in management, whether you're in high school, you move into that direction, you can't get involved with anyone who doesn't understand that the dollars and cents that you work for is not precious. It's precious, guys. None of us can actually pursue somebody who doesn't understand that I worked, whether I sat at the job for 8 hours or 12 hours, whether I sat there and did nothing, or I actually sat there and actually moved the company forward. And then when you get together with them, all the hours that you worked for the last 2 weeks, 1 week or 1 month when you got paid, it's not considered precious. It can be spent as fast as it took you 2 weeks to be able to make it, and they want you to spend it in 2 days spending time with them. These are not the females you need to be looking for. Irregardless what your ego wants, your insecurities desire, you can't associate with females like that. None of us can. None of us can get involved in a relationship where at the end of the day, the hours that we work are not building wealth for the family that we're going to provide for. Now, you can go pursue that, but you will have a trail of receipts. Today that's a slang term that everybody talks about. Oh, I got the receipts. I got the receipts. In association, they talk about dirt. I can show you the information that I have where this person did me wrong, or we did these things and they're actually denying the fact that we did it. I get all of that. But if you want to be successful, you got to be able to tell the young lady you're pursuing no. You have to be able to also not get off your standards. And your standard is whatever system that you want. You work Monday through Friday, you work Saturday through Thursday, whatever that system is. You have to consistently work that system, set money aside so that you can get to the place where you need to be with her. Compliment. There's nothing worse than falling in love with a young lady from the neck down, that from the neck up, she can't help you. There's nothing worse than that. I know everybody wants to find what they call um, I'm not even going to say it's a magazine, because back in the day, it used to be a couple magazines. You would have Sports Illustrated, people had Ebony magazine, then you had Jet, Spanish, you had Gallant. So these were all magazines where you get to one section and they had a young lady that was attractive, that stimulated the mind, had her basically her bust, her waist, and her hips. It had it listed. And guys would go to the magazine, pop it open, see who's the girl of the week. Well, you can have that same issue in life, but it's not the girl of the week. It's the one who took away your wealth and distracted you. Whether she's here for 1 year, she's here for 2 years, she's here for 3. You have to be able to find somebody who can compliment you're going to be here, not for 3 or 4 years, because one thing about being financially sound is being financially sound with somebody who is sound, not somebody who's just present. What are you going to do when you realize that you spent 6 years with somebody with the neck down, but from the neck up, they can't compliment you. They frustrate the heck out of you. You spend 99% of your time trying to prove the fact that you care, and they spend 99% of the time trying to prove the fact that you haven't done enough. That's why I say a fragile mind will always be devoured by resentment, because there's nothing you can do if they're not from the neck up strong. Each and every one of us, whether you're watching this video today or you're watching it years from now, I will tell you, life's not going to get easier. It's going to demand maturity. It's going to demand standards. There's everything right now. I mean, from social media, people ask me, yes, I have an Instagram. I have over 300,000 people on Instagram, but I've spent very little time on Instagram, and I stay away from the search of Instagram. It's just, if I'm not typing in specifically something and correlated to business, if I'm not doing that specifically, then for me as a person, it's just a distraction. Not because I can't stay focused. It's just because the reality is it doesn't offer what I'm trying to do in life. Build the reputation, at least for my lineage, that I want to have and establish, and for the people I want to deal with. Take a point right now. It doesn't matter who the person is. It'll be a new hotline. It's going to be a new gentleman. So right now, the two biggest hotlines, economically, financially, you take in consideration that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he went from being a billionaire, Kanye West, down to worth $400 million. That's all jokes aside. If you was a billionaire and you made a few statements and now you're $400 million, all you make was some public statements. You didn't kill nobody. You've basically used the freedom of speech, which you're not supposed to do. And he used it. He said some things, whether people want to say they were anti-Semitic, it was ignoring the fact and being sensitive to the Hebrews. Then my question would be, Paul was mistaken to be an Egyptian. I don't think Netanyahu would ever be mistaken to be an Egyptian, but Paul was. So was Moses. So I get it. Kanye West made a statement, and somebody was confused that with the statement he made, he was talking to somebody like Paul, somebody like Moses. The reality is he wasn't. But those statements economically, financially hit him at $1 billion down to $400 million. But if you're a male and you say certain statements and you make certain decisions, it can hit you from making 100,000 down to 30. It can get you fired from your job, depending upon the woman that you allow yourself to get involved with, the woman who's there to actually attack your lineage, the woman that's not there to compliment your lineage. So what are some things that I would suggest? I would suggest if you are in high school, you're in college, or you are a young man and you're not married yet, that you really do develop the skill to say no to a female. No from not as perspective that you're not interested, but no from the aspect of saying this: yes, I am interested in pursuing you, but I'm not interested at this particular time pursuing you where it's an adverse effect on my wealth, where this is where I'm going. and the decisions that you would like me to pursue with you is taking me in a different direction where my goals are being stretched, where I would have been one step closer, I'm 5 steps away. Not saying that women are a distraction, but what I am saying is that you can compliment yourself and you can get involved with a woman who's at this time is not the right one for you, and she cannot provide the necessary things that you need in order for you to be successful. Now, you and me can have a difference of opinion, but one thing I tell you that the difference of opinion and then material fact is this. Material facts is that if you don't find somebody to compliment you, material fact is you get involved with a person who's has a fragile mind, resentment is going to devour her, and it's going to become like a leprosy on you. Material fact is no man can handle a Delilah. I don't care who you are. You can't handle it. She was designed to restrain you. She was designed to have your eyes plucked out. She was designed to stop you from becoming the person you are for the men that she's actually working with to destroy you. A lot of guys don't realize that. They're pursuing Delilahs. They're not pursuing women that are compliment them. Matter of fact, I don't even understand why they're not even attracted to women that are compliment them. I mean, if you take from the neck down and don't look at nothing from the neck down, and you just, back in the day, here's a warning clause. Back in the day, guys used to go on the telephone lines. So when they got on the telephone lines, you could just talk. This is before they had Facebook, before they had MySpace. You just got on the phone, it was just you dial the number, it's a random, you hit the button, and then another female come up. You could just talk. Now you can be misled by somebody's voice because you're hearing a nice voice, and then you see the person, and you're like, that happens. But at least from the other situation, you have to know that the same time, like when you was over the phone that's telling my age too. But if you go back in the day before social media, it just has a phone line you can call into, even if it's charging 996, whatever it was charging. You'll be able to talk to different people, meet them and stuff. It's the words in the conversation. It sounds good, especially if you weak-minded as a man and you're saying to yourself, yeah, I'm about to, any slang term you want to use at this time, feel free to use it. But you're saying to yourself, I'm about to show how I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. You're not there yet. If you got to prove something that already they can see physically on the outward appearance, and you're trying to prove that, you still got development. You still got to mature. If you're trying to show a woman that, you can take care of her versus her allowing you to take care of her, and then allowing you to take care of her based on what you're capable of doing, not based on what you're alluding you can do, you need to check yourself. Not ready yet. You're not ready. Now, you may want to be in a relationship, but you're not ready to be in a relationship because the relationship, from a standpoint of complementation, is you telling them, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go, let's hold hands and go together. Great. Let's travel across the world. Let's build a community. Let's define a nation. You can only do any of those things, and I mean any, if you're looking at three factors that are important. Where am I heading? I got to have a point of direction to point. Where am I heading? Do I have the proper resources to get there? And is this next decision going to stop me from going there? That's all you need to know. And if she get involved in your life, where is she headed there with me? Is there a complementary relationship where we headed? Are we pointing in the same direction and our feet are walking there? The answer is no. Go ahead and say no now and walk away. Be a friend, not a relationship. You can't afford to be in a relationship, not economically or not even the fact that financially. It's because over time, you can't afford to give your wealth up for somebody that's not staying. We got these guys that's here throughout this society that we live in, regardless where it is, around the world. They continue to get in these relationships with individuals they know they're not going to stay with. There's a consequence to that. So when we think that we found somebody that we like, whether you in high school, college, or you're married, and now that you said I do, you really do like them because you're responsible for them. And you find that during the course of that you chose to get involved with them, and at this time, they're not mentally capable of staying with you. That's horrible as a guy, especially financially. You worked your entire life to get to where you are, and you got involved with a woman from the neck down that is not going anywhere with you. You spend a year or 2 years financially providing for her. And I get it, guys. You said you was a knight in shining armor. If I pour water in that still, you got water hose, water's just shooting everywhere. She don't know that yet. But you have worked hard. You got involved with her. You have money set aside. You can take her out. You spend 2-3 years continuing to do that, taking her out, taking her out, taking her out. And 2-3 years later, she's not there. Economically, you'll say, oh, I can handle it. No, go back, look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Over the course of that, you might have rescinded from Christmas, birthdays, anywhere between $2,500 to over $20,000. And that's just a middle-class gentleman. I mean, you middle class. I mean, you upper middle class. Over a course of 3 years, easily you can spend over $20,000 pursuing this young lady. People say, nah, that's impossible. Count your receipts. Count them. When you count those receipts, you're going to realize very quickly that, yeah, I may not be at 20,000, but I'm close to 10. That's economically that's not acceptable. You cannot become successful with the way that you're arranging your decisions. And for any of us, it's about business. It's about legacy. It's about family. It's never about enjoying the times. Now I get it. People say, when you're young, you need to go out there and just sow your raw oats. Why we got to use animal language? Why we got to show we can't have no self-control? Can I knit a sweater? Can I sew a shirt? Why do I have to go, sow my oats? Pretty much show that I don't have no constraint. Show I'm a rabies dog, where everything that looks good from the neck down, I'm foaming at the mouth at. You can't be successful. Let's be honest, you cannot be successful with that mentality. You cannot spend every weekend in the club as a business person. You're not networking. You're spending XX money. I mean, you're spending just exorbitant amount of money in entertainment where you should be sitting down, planning out the success of the future you're going to have. You're not interested at all in any form of reckless endangerment spending. You're not interested at all. Taking the opportunity to say to yourself and anyone else, it's okay to be fiscal irresponsible. It's not acceptable. But what you can do is this. Find like-minded men find like-minded men. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you want to be married for 50 years and be successful in business, do not find men that living with a female that's not married to her and you married and you expect them, they've been with that girl for 50 years and you've been with your girl for 2 years and you think that, they've been together for 50 years. Let me just explain something to you. Whether you realize it or not, that man who's living with that woman, who never named her, but his kids got his last name, has a commitment issue. Because see, she's good enough to produce a lineage, and she can complement him by producing offspring, but she can never be qualified to carry his name, but his children can. Psychologically, I mean, to be quite honest with you, this is a man, and I say it, this is a man who me and him wouldn't mesh for a long time. He probably wouldn't mesh with me anyway, but we couldn't sit together for a long time because his ego, I'm sitting there with my wife of 50 years. We making decisions, we moving. And this is a young man who's not willing to have a wife. He's willing to play the role that I don't play. No, we can be associates, but we'll never be close friends and the reason, well, what do you mean you won't be close friends? Well, we can't be close friends. We can't be close friends because our morals are so different. See, that's the issue. Our morals are different. Every time I see him, and he says, my old lady, we are completely opposite. I'm not dealing with my old lady. I'm dealing with the head of my lineage because I'm looking to complement, and I'm also looking for this. Everybody in the house has the same name as me. I'm not trying to be a grandfather with a girlfriend. I'm trying to be a grandfather with the head of my lineage. And if you remember that, And I don't have to accept boys who usurp roles as men and actually don't perform as one. That's important to remember. That's why we have so many single moms out here. First of all, most of these men should have never got with them in the first place because it was from the neck down. It was never about raising a child with that person. It was more about the opportunity of pleasuristic things with them. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. Now, I don't know about you, but one of the things when it comes to dealing with a female is that during that relationship, everything you omit is going to come back to bite you. Everything you notice early on and you don't bring it up, like, oh, wait, I got to kill this right now. I have to slay this giant because this dragon will get bigger and it's going to turn towards me. If a woman ever tell you, I'm a type of female that I'm like this, and I'm the any type of slang term you want to use. If she come out her mouth that way, thank her and walk away. Forget about the neck down. I don't care what none of this look like. This is what you got to have as a man to stay grounded, to be able to lead a nation, keep money in your pocket. Let's say you even got extra money and you got the nice car, you got the house, and you could just go out here and splurge money and have your house look like old school Greyhound with women just running out of the house. Let me tell you the cost of that. A lot of money being wasted and you not getting better as a person and you still being empty. Still being empty. You're still being empty. Because that's what you get at the end of the day. You get emptiness when you're involved with somebody who is not the woman for you. You get emptiness. You will never be in a relationship that has a sustaining power where you feel that she compliments you and she supports you, because she never be able to do that. She's told you early on. For whatever reason, if you are a gentleman and you believe in your mind that it is better for me to tame this lion than to have a lion that's submissive, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. You're the one that got to suffer from that. But what I will tell you is, before you make that decision, think twice. Because there's a cost to bear and finances you can't keep if you keep making those decisions. I will see you Wednesday. Get back to our normal show again on Mondays. And on Wednesdays, it's Business Pro Tips. I talk to women on Monday. I talk to men only on Wednesday. And then I go right into Friday. We just talk business. I wanted to kind of move the show around, because what ends up happening, people say, you know what? Can you give me some advice as a man? Women say, I'm an entrepreneur, but can you give me some advice as a female? Well, the answer to both of those questions is yes, I can. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I want to get that disclaimer right now. I manage my own money. I do not defer any compensation. I only make income. I run a business. I run multiple. I run a business. Put it like that. I run a business where I'm responsible to make sure that I make informed decisions. So on every Monday and every Wednesday, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a manager, and you happen to be a female, make sure you check out Monday's show. I just give advice from females about finances so they can actually compliment their man. On Wednesdays, I talk to men. I give you the warnings, because for whatever reason, we keep getting ourselves in situations, and those situations that we get into don't give us prosperity. Forget about looking like you being successful. The success starts in the mind. And on Fridays, we're going to get right into the nitty gritty, take on some steps, what we need to do in business so we can actually be successful. I see you guys on Monday, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there who hasn't taken the opportunity right now to go get those gifts. You guys have a great day.